Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hey, so I want to apologize for the delay. I didn't get the paperwork until almost 9 o'clock this morning, so I don't have it. I can't get prepared to start on time. So with that being said, Ms. Miller, who's your client?
Good morning, Your Honor. I represent Benjamin Thomas Calloway.
Calloway, okay. And I'm sorry, I see there's another attorney. What's your name, sir? Guess he's froze. Sir, who do you represent and what's your name?
Judge Attorney Scott Smith, Dennis Bryan, or Brian Dennis. It's Brian Dennis, Judge.
Okay.
I just got to my house, so I'm going to log in on my computer.
Okay. I just needed to know who you're representing to get the paperwork. Okay, all right. I got their paperwork set aside, so I'm going to go ahead and do the general advisement, and then I'll handle your cases first. And
Thank you, Your Honor.
yeah, and then we'll start with the women and then the men.
Thank you.
All right. So for everyone else, this is feedback. Okay. So this is the Clayton County Magistrate Court, and we're here for first appearance. So the purpose of first appearance is to essentially tell you what you've been charged with, and also if you have a bond set in your case, what the bond amount is. Some of you will have restricting bonds, which will prohibit you from going to a certain place or having contact with a certain person. If you violate the court's order and you go to a place that you have been prohibited from going to or having contact with a person who I've asked you not to have contact with, then you can face charges of aggravated stalking, in which you will not be entitled to a bond if you are charged with that. And so you can be held in custody until your trial date on the charge. If you are given an unrestricted bond, you may be able to post that bond through either a bonding company, in which they take about 15%, or you can go through a cash bond, which you will post literally, you bring the whole amount of cash to the bond, and at the conclusion of your case, they'll refund that amount to you, less some administrative fees, or you can use a property bond. If you use a real property to secure your bond, you have to have at least 3 times the equity amount in that property to secure your release. And when the case is concluded, that bond on the property will be released. If you are charged with a misdemeanor, so everyone, please listen up closely to this. So if you're charged with a misdemeanor and you tell me that you want to have your preliminary hearing date, so what that is your opportunity to have the state prove that it's probable that you committed the crimes as alleged. And so that's called a preliminary hearing date for a probable cause hearing. So if you're charged with a misdemeanor, that court date is going to be April the 27th. If you are charged with a felony, your court date is going to be April the 28th. However, if you decide that you want to waive your preliminary hearing, then and you're charged with either a misdemeanor or a felony case, and you're unable to make your bond, then you'll be in court within 7 to 10 days. So if you know you can't make your bond and you decide that you don't want to have your preliminary hearing date and wait till the end of April, then you'll have another court date within 7 to 10 days. So if you decide to have a misdemeanor, it's April the 27th. If you're charged with a felony, it'll be April the 28th. So please keep that in mind. So when I call you up individually, you'll have to let me know if you want to keep your preliminary hearing or if you want to waive it. And let's see. If you are on active probation or parole, I won't be able to set a bond for your case by law if it was indicated to me or if I saw it. Let's see. Other than that, I need everyone to please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that any information that you provided to the court in this matter is the truth? If so, please say I do and lower your hands. Okay. Attorney Miller.
Yes, Your Honor.
So Attorney Miller, she's representing Mr. Benjamin Thomas Calloway. We can bring him up. All right, Mr. Calloway, you've been charged with homicide by vehicle in the second degree, failure to yield while turning left, and driving on a suspended or revoked license. Ms. Miller, anything did you want me to know or hear about this?
Your Honor, we'll waive the preliminary hearing in this. I'm just asking for the lowest possible bond on this case. The person that died in this particular incident was his passenger. It looks like he made a wrong turn and someone had T-boned him. The biggest problem with my client is he does have dementia. So I'm concerned for his well-being in the jail. He is 79 years old. I've been retained by the family. They don't have a huge amount of money, but they do have enough to get him out. They're more concerned with his health, getting his medication to him. I'm sure he's pretty confused right now as to what's going on. So that's my main concern, Your Honor.
How was he related to the passenger? Do you know yet?
It was his girlfriend.
Oh, okay. All right. So the bond is set at $5,000 on a homicide charge, is $500 on the failure to yield, and driving on a suspended license is $1,500.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. And if you would just have Mr. Calloway fill out the waiver paperwork, that would be it. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. That's all I have, if I may be excused.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, next would be Brian Dennis. All right, Mr. Dennis, you've been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and simple battery, family violence. Mr. Scott, I'll hear from you.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, just a few things to go over. I've been actually hired by his employer. He's a master barber, and his employer that owns the barbershop hired me to represent him this morning. He also is employed as a personal trainer. It's a very tumultuous relationship between him and his estranged wife. Earlier the day of this incident, not to get too much into the facts of the case, she came up to his employment, up to his job, and had to be escorted off premises. And we have videotape of that. And then later that day, he had informed her that he was going to leave her. She said that basically, if you try to leave me, this is what's going to happen. Here we are. And we do have videotape of that and text messages that are on his phone that are at the jail. Very tumultuous relationship. He needs to understand he can't have any contact with her whatsoever, indirect or direct. And I'm asking the court to give him a good bond on the case. One thing that I would want to know for the court is whether or not he's on probation. He is. And we've reached out to his probation officer, notified them of this. They said, turn yourself in. We'll work through it. They're not going to be back in the office, I believe, until April. But we definitely want to get a good bond on this going. And then whatever the court needs of us as far as insurances of no contact, if you want to address him to see his sincerity level, he's available. And I could go through additional Ayala factors, where he'll live, how old he is, and so forth, if the court wishes. Okay. All right. Based on the warrants and allegations and hearing from you, I will set a bond. I don't know if he's going to get out because of I don't know if they placed a probation hold. There is no indication. So the aggravated assault will be set at $25,000, and it'll be $5,000 on the simple battery. There is special condition bonds. You will have to stay away from Janae Baldry, and you will not be able to go back to 7145 Babylon Book Drive in Jonesboro. Is that her address?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. And you don't have any personal property, anything over there, do you?
Yeah, I just left all my stuff. I just ran.
Okay, so what I'll do, I'm gonna also check the provision that you can go back with a sheriff's deputy to get any undisputed personal property within 10 days from your release, okay?
Okay.
And what you want the waiver? Okay.
Yep.
All right, so Mr. Dennis, make sure before you leave out of there to sign the waiver form so that I can put that with your paperwork.
Okay.
And just let my client know it's a one-time thing. You get to go over there. And if there's any dispute, she says, that's my stuff, leave it.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Anything else, Attorney Scott?
No, just ask that client get in touch with me when he gets out.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused, Judge?
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay, we can start from the top of the calendar with the women
Yeah, Judge, you're gonna start with the females.
now. Okay. You have Miss Anderson there.
Tell me your name. Eva Marie Anderson.
All right. Miss Anderson, you've been charged with no tail lights. That bond is 500. Use or possession of drug-related objects is 500. And possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce is 1,500. So your total bond is $2,000. Would you like to waive or keep your preliminary hearing?
Keep it.
Okay, so your preliminary hearing date is going to be April the 27th. If you make your bond, you won't have that preliminary hearing date, and they'll mail you notice when to come back to court.
Okay.
And let's see. I couldn't understand this. How much money do you make a month approximately?
About 1,000, 1,200 a month.
Okay. I've approved you for a court-appointed attorney. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Bell.
Your Honor, we sent her back to medical.
Okay, so we're gonna continue her until tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, so then I have Miss Cusack next. Now, you've been charged with criminal trespass, Ms. Cusack, and your bond is set at $500. Do you want to waive or would you like to keep your preliminary hearing?
Waive it.
Okay. Based on your application here for an attorney, I'm going to approve your request. So just sign the waiver form. Make sure I can understand your handwriting so I know that it's your waiver, okay? You have any questions, ma'am?
Yes, if my bond is set at 500, will it be, the next court date will be in 7 to 10 business days?
Yeah, so if you don't make your bond, your next court, so if you're still there because you can't post it, you'll be in court in 7 to 10 business days.
Thank you.
Next will be Ms. Ferguson.
Ferguson. I'm tired.
Ms. Ferguson, you've been charged with theft by taking. Your bond is set as $5,000. Would you like to waive or keep your preliminary hearing?
No,
You said you don't know.
I'm not exactly sure. I'm
Okay.
not a felony charge, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, no problem. So in that case, we're going to keep your preliminary hearing. It's going to be April the 28th. And courtroom. And in the base, okay. So how much money do you earn a month? I can't understand your handwriting.
I'm sorry?
How much money do you earn per month? I can't understand the handwriting on the form.
It varies. I clean houses for a living, but when the pandemic started, I mean, my customers started canceling out instantly.
Okay, so what's the average amount that you earn a month?
I say 3 grand.
Okay, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. So they will be in contact with you. If you don't make the bond, you'll have court on April the 28th. Did you have any questions?
Now, can I post, so I don't have a bond at the moment?
Your bond is $5,000.
Okay, so, but can my grandmother post a property bond on that?
Yeah, if she has at least $15,000 in equity in her home, she can post a property bond for you.
And does that work on Saturdays?
Yeah, the jail's open every day.
Yeah, I'm saying though, for her to be able to get a property bond on a Saturday, will that work out?
Oh, I'm not actually sure about that, but I know they accept bonds 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Okay,
I don't know about the property aspect because I know they have to write some stuff up and check some stuff.
yeah, because she lives in Henry County, so it would have to be transferred to Clayton County too, so,
Yeah, I don't know if that can happen on the weekend or not.
okay. Right,
Okay, all right, well, thank you.
thank you.
All right, Ms. Holmes?
Go back.
You go back to you. Don't let that door slide though.
Ms. Holmes, you've been charged with cruelty to children in the second degree. Your bond is set at $5,000. Did you want to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
Keep it.
It's going to be set for April the 28th. Based on your application for an attorney, I've approved an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, thank you. Are you Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson, you've been charged with battery. That bond is $5,000. Simple battery is $3,000. Cruelty to children is $2,000. You have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from having contact with Jamal Bridges and Brooklyn Jackson. Would you like to waive or keep your preliminary hearing?
What does that mean, waive or keep the, what does that mean?
So we're going to keep your preliminary hearing since you don't understand what it is. You can speak with an attorney and they can change it at a later date.
So do I have a bond or my bond?
I just told you what your bond amounts were. Did you hear it?
So basically I'm saying it's 5,000?
The battery is $5,000, simple battery is $3,000, cruelty to children is $2,000. So your total bond is $10,000.
So basically I'm staying in jail till April.
No, not necessarily. Once you meet with an attorney, they can come and waive it if they explain it to you better so you can understand what it is. So we're going to keep it since I don't want you to waive any of your rights and you don't understand what you're doing. So we're going to keep the date. I've appointed an attorney to represent you based on your application. And they'll meet with you if you're still in custody and you're not able to make your bond.
So my bond is 5 and 3,000, and so altogether, do you know the total?
10,000.
10,000. And that's not no percentage or nothing, right? It's just
That's the total bond. If you go through a bonding company, they probably gonna take about $1,500 to $2,000.
How much would that be?
That's what I just said, $1,500 to $2,000.
Oh,
They take a percentage.
okay. So basically I'm staying in jail.
Yeah, if you don't make your bond, you'll be in custody until you make your bond or your case is resolved. An attorney is gonna come meet with you this week if you don't get out, okay? And they're gonna let you know what's the next step. Either you're gonna have a preliminary hearing or you're gonna be sent to Superior Court.
Hopefully scared.
All right. Ms. Noor,
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
good morning. You've been charged with battery. That bond is $3,000. Obstruction of a law enforcement officer is $2,000. You do have special conditions. You can't have any contact with Eleanor. Do you understand the conditions of your bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to waive or did you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
I just need help understanding because my flight is in the morning because we don't live out here.
Okay,
How do I go about that? Like, do you know how much I would need right now to be able so I can catch my flight?
if you go through a bonding company, it'll probably be between $550 and $600 to get out. So whoever is going to be helping you do that, that's about how much money it's going to take to get you bonded out.
Okay, ma'am, and my other question is, I'm here with my best friend and we're not from out here, we're from Phoenix. And as I said, we leave in the morning, so can she get me out even though we don't have a Georgia ID? She has a Phoenix ID as well.
Yes, she just has to, that's up to the individual bonding companies.
Oh,
So they all have their different requirements about out-of-state defendants and what's all required in order for them to feel comfortable posting your bond.
okay.
So she just has to call the different ones and find one that's willing to post one for someone who lives out of state.
Okay, okay.
All right,
Thank you.
any other questions?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, and I did appoint an attorney to represent you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, you're welcome.
Good morning, I'm Jordan.
All right, one. Okay, Ms. Jordan Thomas, you've been charged with a violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Based on the warrantless arrest affidavit that the officer completed is insufficient, so I've dismissed the charges against you.
Oh, say that again?
Your charges are dismissed because the officer did provide me what I needed to keep the charge.
I can go home now?
Well, whenever the jail processes everything, they don't have the paperwork yet because I just did it. So it'll probably be later on today, not immediately.
Okay, thank you,
All right,
thank you.
well-
Because I was gonna have a lot of questions for you, so that makes a lot of sense. I really appreciate that.
All right,
And how long?
It's up to them. When the paperwork get up
Is
there,
that hours?
we don't know yet.
Okay.
She got the
Thank
finish.
you.
all right, Ms. Williams.
Good evening.
Ms. Williams, you've been charged with pointing a pistol or a gun at another person. Your bond is set at $25,000. You have to stay away from Kavisha Welcher. You cannot return to 2268 Nicole Drive in Hampton, Georgia. Do you understand the conditions of your bond?
I do.
Okay. Would you like to waive or did you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
I'm gonna keep it. Mhm.
All right. The date is going to be April the 28th.
Mhm.
And let's see. Does it say you earn $5,000 a month?
That's gross,
Okay,
and that's included with, like child support.
okay. So based on the application, you make too much money for me to appoint an attorney. So have they already hired an attorney?
No,
Okay,
I mean, I just filled it out to the best of my ability. I didn't know if it was supposed to be net gross, including child support,
what's your net income?
gross or net.
What's your net income?
My net income is about $1,650 every 2 weeks.
So is that about $3,000 a month?
Yes.
Okay. I'll appoint an attorney to represent you based on the application and that. Okay. And so someone will be appointed to represent you. If you don't make your bond, you'll have your court date on your preliminary hearing date on the 28th, but an attorney will be there to see you if you're still in custody in 3 or 4 days.
I'm hoping to find out today.
Yeah, so if you make your bond, then you'll get in contact with them once you get out.
Okay.
All right, any other questions?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Did you have any other questions?
Yeah, so if I make my bond today, the preliminary will be automatically waived pretty much.
Yes.
Okay.
And they'll mail you notice when you come back to court.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That's the last female, Your Honor.
All right. All right, you have Mr. Barber up first.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Bullock, sorry.
Mr. Barber, you've been charged with 3 counts of commercial burglary. On each one of those counts, your bond is set at $25,000. And you've been also charged with 3 counts of criminal damage in the 2nd degree, and those are set at $10,000 each. So your total bond is $105,000. You cannot return or go back to the Forest Park's Wings and Fish located at 4430 Jonesboro Road in Forest Park, Georgia. You cannot go back or turn to the premises of Cabanas Grill and Restaurant at 4095 Jonesboro Road in Forest Park. And you also cannot go back to the American Deli located at 4542 Old Dixie Road in Forest Park, Georgia. Do you understand the conditions of the bond, sir?
I want to say the date. I want to keep the date.
All right. So that date is going to be April the 28th. And let's see here. And I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Judge, who you got next?
Mr. Baines.
You guys keep it quiet, okay? You know the court is going on. Okay, listen.
All right, Mr. Baines, you've been charged with family violence battery. That bond is $5,000 and cruelty to children is $2,000. You do have special conditions which prohibit you from having contact with Morgan Benton. Do you understand the conditions of your bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you like to waive or did you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
Keep it.
Okay. Then those dates will be April the 27th. No, I'm sorry, it's gonna be April the 28th. Oh yeah, you're gonna have to hire your own attorney based on this application.
Okay.
All right, did you have any questions?
No.
All right, thank you.
Sit over.
All right, Mr. Bryan will be next.
Mr. Brown.
Brian.
Brian, come start right back.
All right, Mr. Bryant, you've been charged with theft by receiving stolen property. The bond is $10,000. Violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act is $5,000 and fleeing from police is $1,500. So your total bond is $16,500. Would you like to waive or did you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
Keep it.
All right, it's going to be set for April the 28th. If you make the bond, then you won't have the preliminary hearing date. If you don't make it, that'll be your next time you'll be in court. And let's see here. Based on this application, I'm appointing an attorney to represent you. Did you have any questions?
No.
All right, thank you.
Go back to the phone.
Mr. Carter will be next. Mr. Carter, you've been charged with speeding. That bond is 500. I lowered it. And driving with no license is 1,000. Did you want to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
We can waive it back.
All right. So you'll need to complete that waiver form. Make sure I can understand your handwriting and know that it's your form. I've appointed an attorney to represent you. If you don't have any questions, then that's it.
No, ma'am, thank you, Judge.
Sit down. Next, counsel.
You waited for the court to seal the 10 days instead of April 27th.
Are you Mr. Catron?
Yes, ma'am.
You've been charged with possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. The bond is $1,500. Did you want to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
Wait.
All right. I've appointed you an attorney to represent you. Complete the waiver paperwork. Make sure I can understand your handwriting so I know it's your form, okay? All right, thank you.
Next, come on.
Mr. Cowan? Are you Mr. Cowan?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you've been charged with driving on a suspended license. The bond is $1,500. Failure to have your headlights on is $500. So your total bond is $2,000. Did you want to waive or keep your preliminary hearing?
No, keep my preliminary.
It's going to be set for April the 27th.
I'm on the end of the I'm sorry.
What did you say?
I mean, cut you off, I'm sorry.
You want to keep your hearing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be April the 27th. Based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Did you have any questions?
Is that part of the bond?
Yeah, that's the bond schedule. That's the standard bond for those charges.
Okay, so it just be $2,000?
$2,000.
All right, thank you.
Are you welcome? That's it. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Next, come on, sir.
Mr. Driscoll? Mr. Driscoll, you've been charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license and driving on an expired or invalid tag, which is $500. Your total bond is $2,000. Would you like to waive or keep your preliminary hearing?
Waive.
All right. Based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Please make sure you complete the waiver where I can understand your handwriting so I know it belongs to you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Policy right there. Next, come on.
Go.
See you next week.
Paris Gould.
Oh, you've been charged with being a party to the crime. Your bond is set at $25,000. You cannot return back to Grand Wings located 5226 Jonesboro Road in Lake City, Georgia. Based on your application, I have appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive or would you like to keep your preliminary hearing?
I'll keep it.
It's going to be April the 28th. And if you don't have any questions, then you're free to go, sir.
Go ahead. See you. See you. Make sure that's you.
Yeah, he.
All right, you Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, ma'am.
Mr. Hughes, you've been charged with possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. That bond is $1,500. And driving on a suspended or revoked license is $1,500. So your total bond is $3,000. Do you want to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
Wait,
All right.
if I waive it, I still get the bond out though, right?
Yeah.
All right, anyway.
You can bond out today or whenever you post it. So just fill out that waiver paperwork so I can make sure I can understand it.
I mean,
I've appointed an attorney to represent you.
all right.
All right, thank you, sir.
Damn.
All right, next one. See ya. See ya.
Are you Mr. Jordan?
You know,
Mr. Jordan, you were charged with possession or use of drug-related objects. The bond is $500. Do you want to waive it or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
wait.
All right, complete the waiver paperwork for me. I was appointed an attorney to represent you. Did you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right, are you Mr. Kennedy?
Yeah, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Kennedy, you've been charged with possession of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act. That bond is $5,000. You want to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
Wait.
All right. Based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. If you decide to hire your own, then they just fill out the paperwork and then that relieves the court-appointed attorney. So just fill out the paperwork and make sure I can understand your handwriting.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Gregory Lester.
All right, how you doing, Mr. Lester?
Good, and how are you?
All right. You've been charged with possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. That's $5,000 on that bond. The red light violation is $500. Possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce is $1,500. So your total bond is $7,000. Do you want to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
I would like to speak with my attorney before I make that decision.
No problem. So the date will be set for April the 28th. And you and your attorney can waive it at a later date, but if you make the bond, then that date is automatically waived and you'll get notice when it come back to court.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Take care.
All right, you too.
Come on, sir. Yo, come on. Let me go back. Stand with it.
Are you Mr. Lowe? All right, Mr. Lowe, you've been charged with driving with no license. That bond is $1,000. No tail lights is $500. Would you like to waive or keep your preliminary hearing?
Keep preliminary.
You say keep.
Yeah, Judge, you said keep. You will keep it.
All right, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Your court date will be on April the 27th. Thank you, sir.
Come on, sir.
What's your name, sir?
Jose Mendoza.
All right, you've been charged with disorderly conduct. That bond is $1,500. Public drunk is $1,000. Your total bond is $2,500. Would you like to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
I have to try to call somebody for see if let me borrow the money.
Okay. All right, I appointed an attorney to represent you. And your court date is going to be on April the 27th.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Next.
All right, are you Mr. Moore?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Moore, you've been charged with battery. Your bond is $5,000. You have special conditions that prohibit you from having contact with Samuel Singley. Would you like to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
I want to keep my preliminary.
All right, it's going to be set on April the 27th. Based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Next.
Can we use your phone? Do you want to go?
Yep. Down right down.
Are you Mr. Ingor?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Based on the warrantless arrest affidavit, I find insufficient probable cause. So your case has been dismissed.
Oh, thank you.
Next.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes, ma'am.
you've been charged with criminal damage in the second degree. Your bond is set at $4,000. You do have a special condition bond. You can't have any contact with Destiny Chandler. You cannot go back to 817 Bryan Lane in Forest Park, Georgia. If you have any items there that belong to you and undisputed, you can go back within 10 days from your release to go and retrieve any items. Did you want to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
I keep my preliminary.
And you understand the special conditions of your bond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, in that case, your court date is going to be set on the 28th. And let's see here. Based on this application for an attorney, I've appointed one to represent you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, are you Mr. Reed? Mr. Reed, you've been charged with theft by receiving stolen property. Your bond is $3,000. Would you like to waive or keep your preliminary hearing?
Keep it.
All right, your court date is going to be set for April the 28th. Based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Did you have any questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Are you Mr. Rodriguez?
No, Mr. Shinholz.
Okay. Okay, Shin Holster.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you fill out a court-appointed attorney form?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you've been charged with theft by shoplifting. Your bond is set at $2,000. You can't go back to the wholesale food outlet located at 4855 Jonesboro Road in Forest Park, Georgia. Do you understand the conditions of your bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
I want to keep it.
All right, it's going to be April the 27th. And I don't have a form for you, so I'll print one out and I'll appoint an attorney to represent you.
All right, come on next.
What's your name, sir?
Smallwood.
Mr. Smallwood, you've been charged with battery. The bond is $3,000. You do have to have no contact with Ashley Hodges. Do you understand the conditions of your bond?
Yes.
Would you like to waive or keep your preliminary hearing?
Waive.
Are you gonna hire your own attorney?
Yes, I can.
All right. So are you gonna be, how much do you make a month? What's your gross? Or
55,
you said how much?
5,500.
Yeah, okay. You're gonna have to hire your own attorney, okay? Fill the waiver form out, make sure you can, I understand your handwriting. You have any questions?
That's it.
All right, thank you.
Next. You print your names up here and then sign right there. Who's the left? Come on, you want to come up front?
Mr. Stanley?
Who is the judge? What's your name? Anthony? Yeah. Come on.
What's your name?
William, Jerry Williams.
Gary Williams?
Jerry, J-E-R-Y.
Mr. Williams, you've been charged with disorderly conduct. The bond is $1,500. Carrying a concealed weapon is $2,000. So your total bond is $3,500. $3,500. Did you want to waive or you want to keep your preliminary hearing?
You put that, the preliminary, that.
Okay. So it'll be April the 27th. You didn't put, how much money do you make a month? You didn't put anything on your form.
Not a thing. I don't make nothing. I don't got no job.
Okay, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Did you have any questions?
Is it?
All right, thank you.
Next. Next. Huh? Sorry, you can look at it.
What's your name, sir?
Brandon Williams.
All right, Mr. Williams, you've been charged with criminal trespass. That bond is $3,000. Criminal trespass, damage to property is $2,000. Battery, family violence is $5,000. Cruelty to children in the third degree is $2,000. So your total bond is $12,000. You do have a special condition bond. It requires you not to have contact with Denise Harris. You cannot return or go to the premises of 186 Falcon Crest Trail in Jonesboro, Georgia, 30238. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you want to waive or would you like to keep your preliminary hearing?
Keep it.
That date is going to be April the 27th. And let's see, based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
You come on. You go now.
What's your name, sir?
Right. Kendall Wright.
No, you see it.
Mr. Wright, you've been charged with impeding traffic. That bond is $500. Open containers, $500. DUI is $5,000. So your total bond is $6,000. Would you like to waive or would you like to keep your preliminary hearing?
I'll wait.
Okay. How much money do you earn a month?
I'm not working right now, man.
Based on your application, I've appointed an attorney to represent you. Make sure you complete the waiver paperwork so I can understand your handwriting.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
How you doing?
All right, how are you?
I'm all right. My name is Marlon White.
Yeah, what?
Marlon White. That's the TGT.
Oh, okay. Where's Mr. Stankley at?
Company? Hold on one second. Let me find out from her.
We're missing out. We're gonna do to him last. I need to do everybody else before I do that. That takes too long.
All right, one moment, Judge. Where's Stumpley? You have Stumpley on the phone? Yeah, he's gone. Oh, he gone home. Adam gone.
Okay. So is there anybody else left there?
No, Judge.
So what happened to Rodriguez?
Who?
Rodriguez?
Rodriguez?
Yes.
One second.
Let me check. They should be in full now. Let me check real quick.
Let's check. Have a sit over there, sir.
If he's the only one, then we can do him. I got these paperwork for people that's not here.
All right.
Stankley out.
I can do it.
All right. All right, so you're Mr. White, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. White, you've been charged with being a fugitive from justice. It says that you are wanted from Tarrant County Sheriff's Office out of Fort Worth, Texas for aggravated assault and warrant number W1325-56930. And they have indicated they are going to pick you up. So essentially, this is like a mini well, not even that. It's an extradition hearing. So all the rights that I told to everyone else also apply to you. As I just indicated, you don't have any charges here in Clayton County, and you've only been brought to court today because you have charges out of Texas for aggravated assault.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you in fact Marlon White?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And Mr. White, do you already have an attorney representing you?
Well, I have an attorney representing me in Tarrant County. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So what happens, you have a choice of whether you want to contest your extradition or if you would like to waive your extradition and be returned to Texas without going through the formal extradition process. If you decide that you would like to contest your extradition, the court can commit you to the county jail for an initial period of 30 days. During that time, a warrant will be prepared by the governor's signature for your extradition to go to Texas. The court may consider allowing you to post a bond, but at this time, the court is going to deny bond in this matter. If you do not wish to voluntarily return back to Texas, you can file a writ of habeas corpus contesting the extradition. And in that, you can contest whether the documents are valid on their face, whether there's an aggravated assault charge actually exists in Texas, whether you're the person that's actually named in the extradition request, and whether you are in fact a fugitive from justice.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't contest your innocence or guilt here in this court. You would have to do that in Texas.
Yes,
You are
ma'am.
entitled to have an attorney to help you decide whether you want to waive or contest your extradition. But if you decide that you do want to contest it, you can be committed until Clayton County up to 90 days. So did you want to waive it or did you want to contest your
Okay, I have a question, Your Honor. Okay, now, which one would get me to Texas faster to where I can handle my case? If I'm waiving?
A waiver?
Yo, yes, ma'am. I'll waive it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they have the forms over there. So you'll complete the waiver forms and then I'll sign them and then they'll send those to Texas to let them know that you waived it. So
Yes,
get you out of here quickly.
And how long would I have to wait before Texas come get me?
It could be anywhere 30 to 60 days.
30 to 60? Okay, but I was notified that it was 10 days, 10 to 20 days.
Yeah, that's not the case.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Okay, yes, ma'am. But but one more question, Your Honor. I wonder if you can initiate the charges that Texas wanted me for again.
It was aggravated assault.
That's it?
That's the charge is aggravated assault.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I just want to see right there. All right, Judge.
Yes.
Rodriguez bonded out.
Rodriguez bonded out.
Yes, Judge.
All right. Well, that's everybody, right?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.